Hi guys, and welcome to another Ace Tanker in the Excelsior. Now, if you haven't already switched off, you're probably asking yourselves, why is Irish in an Excelsior again? He already wasted an hour of my life yesterday in the Excelsior review. Why am I watching more footage of this tank? And the answer is very, very simple. I'm lazy. Basically, when I review a tank, and it's a good tank, I usually end up with a lot of footage that I end up cutting from the review, simply to keep the review length down. I also usually end up with a couple of games that I could have included in the review, but I decided I wasn't going to for one specific reason or another. So this video today is going to feature an Ace Tanker in the Excelsior, and it didn't make the review because basically, it's a great game, it's a great result, but if you look at the teams, there are only 2 tier 5s on either side. So I'm top tier, but there are only 2 tier 5s on the enemy team. The rest of the tanks on the enemy team are mainly tier 4 light tanks. They're not even proper tier 4 tanks, they're mainly tier 4 light tanks and tier 3s. So I didn't think there was any point in bringing or recording this game for the review because, yeah, if I'm going to review a tank and I'm going to say its armor is great, then I want to show that armor when I'm fighting tier 6s or at the very least tier 5s. And yeah, I don't think showing a game where I'm mainly being shot at by tier 3s and tier 4 light tanks is good enough to bring to you in a review. I think bouncing VK3601Hs and KV85s in this tank is far more impressive than bouncing a PZ1C. So this is a great game, but it didn't make the cut for the review yesterday. But there are a couple of other things that I cut from the review, basically just to keep the time of the review short. And I know you're probably laughing at yourselves that it was almost an hour long. How the heck can you cut footage from a review? Well, it happens when a tank is very good, and I end up having a lot of stuff I can talk about. So at the end of this game, after I've finished discussing the score sheets for this particular game, I've already recorded footage. It was recorded yesterday for the review and it just was cut. So there's going to be some more footage after the final score sheets for this game. A couple of things that I didn't actually mention during the review, but it's worth staying on. If you like the Excelsior, you want to know more about the Excelsior, there's a couple of things the Excelsior is very, very good at that I just didn't have time to include in the review. Even though I did record them, did have them in the review originally, I ended up cutting them just to keep the review short. So anyway, we are here on Wide Park. Basically a map that only tier 5s and tier 6s get, and as I say, this is an absolute dream matchup. Only 2 tier 5s on the enemy team. Let's just get going. If you want to see what a beast the Excelsior can be, and I said it a few times yesterday when I said this tank gets top tier. When this tank gets top tier, it's an absolute beast. You cannot be more top tier than in this particular game. So during the countdown and looking at the tanks on the enemy team, I was cackling to myself like an evil genius. I was looking forward to that countdown hitting 0, and I'm just charging straight in. My plan is to go over to the 1 line and basically just sweep across the entire map. So, missing a few shots on the move, don't have an outline on the 820. So my plan is basically just to come up here and work my way across the map and just kill everything in my way. So I'm actually playing tactically here. I stop. The Matilda is the biggest threat I can see on the enemy team because he can pen me. But I decide, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and shoot for a moment, and I'm playing tactically. But then it occurs to me any time about now that, hang on, I'm the only tier 5 tank and I'm in a Excelsior. So let's just go for it. Let's just charge and go for it. There's kill number 2. There's kill number 3. Oh, I was penned by a Valentine in the side. I told you this tank really has poor side armor. I've actually taken damage from a Valentine. And not only is it a Valentine, it's a stock Valentine. But he was still able to pen my side. So I've just come around, I'm just charging, I'm not planning to stop for very much. Miss a shot in the move. Take out the PZ-1C. Okay, Matilda's running away. I'm going to work on the Valentine. I've just realized I've been penned by the Stug. Oh, hang on, the Stug is penning me. Okay, I'm going to deal with you. You don't pen me. I pen you. So, I'm using the wreck for cover. Only giving him my tracks to shoot at. He doesn't pen me anymore after that, but there's kill number 7. I'm up to 7 kills already. Let's keep going. So, T80. So, I've taken 18 hits, I've only been penned twice. Okay, so I miss out on the kill on the T80, AMX-38. Now, I should point out that, again, for some reason, there's kill number 8. For some reason, the missions aren't showing up on replays anymore, but I'm in the middle of a mission here. In the replay yesterday, I showed you a game where I was trying to cap. This was the game played directly after that game. I'm still trying to cap, and the sub-objective is to do 2,000 damage in a heavy tank and cap to win the game. So I've just done my 2,000 damage. Now all I need to do is cap. There's only one tank left on the enemy team. I could go for kill number 9, but I'm trying to complete the mission. So I need to cap, and I need to have done 2,000 damage. I've just done 2,033 damage. So this is me completing the cap mission for the heavy tank concept, or the T28 heavy tank concept. But yeah, top tier. Mainly tier 4 light tanks and tier 3s on the enemy team. So I got my 2k damage and I got my cap mission finished, and unfortunately we don't kill the UE before the game ends. But yeah, this didn't make the cut yesterday. It was a replay I did consider for the review, but I decided there's nothing in this particular replay that basically is a challenge, but it just shows you how much of a beast this tank can be when it's top tier. It was a fun game, and I had so much fun playing this tank for the review. So I picked up an Ace Tanker, and I picked up a Radley Walters, and that's probably the easiest Radley Walters medal that you guys have ever seen. This game was fun. I also picked up a cool-headed, I also picked up Steel Wall, I picked up High Caliber, and I picked up the automatic Top Gun. Yeah, I was having just so much fun playing the Excelsior. I finished up with 1232 XP, 2033 damage, which gave me the 2000 damage I needed in a heavy tank before capping to complete the mission, and the 8 kills. Very, very good result for me. 25 shots fired, 21 hits. Now, considering most of my shots were fired on the move, and this tank isn't supposed to be very good when shooting on the move, yeah, the gun really did work out for me. So 21 hits, 20 penetrations. As I say, I got my 2k damage, so I'm happy. I received 18 hits and 16 non-pens. I only took 2 damaging hits, and they were both through the side of my tank. The side armor really isn't good, even though it does have spaced armor. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think this game was worthy of the review. Yeah, 16 bounces from tier 3s and tier 4s, nothing to boast about. But I did block almost 1,000 damage with the armor. I damaged 9, destroyed 8, did 68 assistance damage, and I ended up getting 37 base cap points in order to complete the mission. So yet another mission done. For the heavy tank concept. I earned 55,000 credits. I said it yesterday during the review. The repair costs for the Excelsior are very cheap. The ammo costs, if you're not firing premium, are very cheap. This is a very good money maker. 55,000 credits overall after costs. And it wasn't my first game of the day. I was playing games for the review, but 1848 with a premium account, and overall I ended up with 2,587. So really dream matchup. It was a very dream matchup for the Excelsior, showing you again, as I said yesterday, when this tank is top tier, it's an absolute beast. But we're not done with the video for today yet. If you're still watching, coming up next, it's already recorded, so There's going to be no voiceover that I'm doing at the moment. The voiceover you hear for the rest of the footage is voiceover that was done during the review and ended up on the cutting room floor. But here was me completing one of the heavy tank, or the T-28 heavy tank concept missions. Another heavy tank concept mission I finished yesterday was using a heavy tank to get a ram kill. So that was footage that was in the review but was cut. And following that, I've got a little bit more extra footage from when I was discussing the Excelsior's armor in Tank Compare. I discussed something very, very important regarding the armor, but just to keep the length of the video down, I ended up cutting it. I did mention it very, very briefly somewhere else in the review, but I wanted to show you guys in Tank Compare. So, the rest of the footage of this video is just cut footage that I've already pre-recorded, and it's just sitting on my hard drive. But that's me done for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the footage. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. So here we are on Runeberg, and you'll notice a couple of enemy tanks sitting in E1. I've already been aggressive, I've already taken out a Chiha, but I'm going to be using the speed and maneuverability of this tank to do some flanking. So again, I'm advancing. I'm not accelerating particularly well, but it's quick enough. But I've come around the corner, and something I haven't mentioned so far is I'm doing a ram mission for the heavy tanks at the moment, and that PZ SFL4C is my target. So there we go. We have flanked, I've distracted the enemy team, they're all turning to deal with me. I bounce on the Chihi somehow, but that PZ-38NA, he can't pen my rear. Unfortunately, I do get hit by RT, and there we go. I've just lost a loader again, and my turret's been knocked out. So, yeah, a very, very quick little clip of what you can do in this tank. I was able to use it to flank. I was able to get to use its speed and maneuverability to get around behind enemy tanks. I was able to distract the enemy team. They all turned around to deal with me, allowing my team to move up and finish them off. You got to see the armor in action. I was penned a couple of times, but once again, you got to see modules being knocked out and crew members being knocked out due to HE damage from an RT shot. Oh, and not to mention, I also completed my RAM mission. So basically, the Excelsior is also a very, very good rammer. Now, while the Excelsior is exceptionally well armoured to the front and very well armoured to the rear, the news actually gets a little bit better, because unlike a lot of British tanks, where the tracks are basically covering the hull, on a lot of British tanks, if you shoot on the inside of the track, what you're doing is you're penetrating the track, but you're also going to penetrate part of the hull, because the tracks cover the hull. That doesn't happen with the Excelsior. If we hide the spaced armour and we go to chassis, you'll see that the tracks basically don't cover the hull. The tracks are on the outside of the tank. So unlike a lot of British tanks, shooting the inside of the track is not going to penetrate the track and penetrate the hull. It's basically just going to go straight through the tank. So it may track you, but it's not going to do any damage. You get tracked a lot in the Excelsior because even players with a little bit of experience know that shooting British tanks here will sometimes track the tank and do damage just by firing frontally at the tracks. That's not the case with the Excelsior. The tracks do not cover the hull at all. They are extended from the hull. So that is just more good news for the Excelsior.